What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and I just got 4 fourplexes under contract in what I believe to be one of the most competitive markets ever. And in today's video, I'm gonna share with you all of the tips and tricks that I used to be able to get all of these properties under contract. So with all of that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, I've been investing in real estate for the last 9 years. I currently own 162 units of residential real estate. I also own 2 storage unit complexes, and I've got over 20 units under contract right now. 4 of those are the fourplexes that I'm gonna talk about in this video and explain how I was able to get those under contract. Chandler, the market is so competitive. I don't know how I'm ever going to find deals. No matter what I do, I can't seem to find a good deal. In this video, I'm gonna share with you the tips and tricks that I've used to be able to consistently land extraordinary deals regardless of what the market is doing. The only thing that I ask you to do is remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. And if you're someone that's really diving into real estate and you want a step-by-step process of everything that you need to do to go from 0 doors to over 100 units like I have in the last 9 years, then you can also click the link down in my description to snag my real estate investing course. Step number 1, you've got to narrow in on a niche that you understand better than anyone else. The first niche that I ever looked at was duplexes. I became the best at knowing what a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, or 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit within a duplex would be able to rent for. I became extraordinary at knowing what renovations I could do or what tweaks or what changes I could do to these particular units, and I knew exactly what they could rent for. So when I was searching for duplexes, I knew precisely what I was looking for, what it could rent for, what my numbers would be, so that I could go into the next steps of this process. Because if you don't know your niche perfectly, you're not going to be successful in finding deals because you're not gonna know what you need to look for. This comes down to analyzing what it can rent for, knowing what all of your expenses are going to be, knowing what your vacancy is going to be, knowing what all of the numbers are when analyzing a rental property for the particular rental that you're looking for. Now, I started with duplexes, then I got into fourplexes, then I got into multifamily, 30 units and less. I'm now to the point where whether it's a 100-unit apartment complex or a duplex in the certain areas that I'm very comfortable with, I know I can look at those deals and I am the best of the best at determining what a good deal is and knowing all of the numbers on all of these different properties. However, I didn't start that way. And so if you're someone that knows you want to buy a fourplex or knows you want to buy a duplex, figure out what you need to do to become the professional on that kind of property in your particular area so that you know exactly what you're looking for and you know all of the different ways that you can add value, whether it's just increasing rents because they're undervalued or doing renovations or other tweaks to be able to make it so that you can increase rents so you can have a hand up on the competition when you're shopping out deals. Number 2, you've got to get really good at generating leads. I do this in a myriad of different ways. I've got multiple realtors, I've got multiple wholesalers, I've got multiple connections and real estate investing friends that they all know I'm always looking, they know my criteria, and they're consistently sending me deals. But even with that, I have times where deal flow dries up. And that's why one of the ways that I market is I'll go and either drive neighborhoods and find particular properties that I think look like they might be a good opportunity to reach out to the actual owner of that property and see if they're interested in selling. Or even better, I have Ryan Dossie over at BALLPOINT Marketing pull all of the data on the properties that have a ton of equity in them and send out a ton of incredible mailers. And that's exactly what I did to be able to find all 4 of these deals because a lot of my other deal flow felt like it was drying up. And so I reached out to Ryan and I said, hey Ryan, I want to do some mailers again because he is absolutely incredible. He knows exactly how to create these letters so that people are drawn to them. So they stick out above all of the other letters that people might be sending out as wholesalers or realtors. So they really grab people's attention. Now here's a video really quick of me taking all of these mailers. I think we had almost 1,000 mailers that we sent out. All right guys, so I just did another massive order. All of this is for multifamily from Ryan. You can see, I think in total, what do you think, Mads? Probably 800 or 900 pieces of mail. Yeah. I think is how many we've got total. So we're gonna go start plugging them in to the mailbox and see if we get any luck. We put them in and we waited. I also worked with Ryan. His team actually filters through the calls and then sends me just the qualified potential sellers, and then I handled the calls from there. But this system worked incredibly well. I've had extreme success because of the person that I work with, and I'm going to include his link down in my description and give you the ability to get 10% off. So if you've hit a real hard point where you don't know how to market, I would tell you this is the best thing you could do because these mailers are absolutely incredible. And again, the link will be down in the description. This leads us to step number 3, which is finding your motivated buyers. Now, you could field the calls or you can pay Ryan's team to go through the calls, but essentially you wanna find those people that are trying to sell. And a lot of times when you wanna sell, you can become very emotional for a myriad of different reasons. These are the people that I wanna connect with because I want there to be massive urgency for them to sell. I want them to have pain points. I want them to want to sell the property and want it so bad that they're willing to do it at a discount because that's where you find the best deals. So as you're going through these, a lot of times you'll have lots of people that will call and say, hey, you know, I'd like to at least get a bid. I'm somewhat interested. Sometimes you can get these people to become motivated sellers, but the majority of the time they're a little harder to sell, or I guess to get to sell. The sellers that I love are those that are saying, Chandler, I really need to sell because I've got to place this money somewhere else. Or look, I really don't want to use a realtor, but your letter came at the perfect time because we do want to unload this property. Or the sellers that say, hey, we decided we wanted to sell now because we saw interest rates are on the rise. We're worried. I love these people because whether they admit it or not, they definitely are fearful of what the future brings, which gives you leverage to get a better deal on rentals. Now, once you've found your motivated buyers, we're gonna go to the next step, and that is build value. The way that you build value is you act extremely excited about the properties. You make sure that you build yourself up as a potential buyer. You say, look, I've bought these properties, or I'm already pre-approved for this loan. I really need to place money quickly. You make them feel like you've got some urgency as well, because if you have urgency, they think they've got a buyer. You want them to feel like they've got a buyer at the very beginning, and a solid buyer, a buyer that knows what they're doing, a buyer that's gonna go through the process and handle it properly. And the more that you can build up their value in you and your enthusiasm for their property, the better off you're going to be at being able to lock them in, and the better off you're going to be when it comes to negotiation, because then you're going to have to pivot from being an excited, motivated buyer to someone who is willing to walk away from the deal if the numbers don't work for you. And they don't want to lose you, so they're going to be motivated to hopefully bend with you on price so that your numbers can work. Now, these next couple steps all kind of blend together, and I've kind of already hinted at some of them, but you want to make sure that you build value. You want to make sure that you're extremely assumptive about the fact that you're going to purchase the property, that everything is in line for you to purchase the property. And on top of being assumptive, you want to build urgency. You want to say, yeah, I wanted to buy a property as soon as possible because interest rates are going up. And every time interest rates go up, my buying power goes down. Now, through this process, the next step is make it a win-win-win. It's gotta make sense for them. A lot of times when people think negotiation, they think, I'm gonna hardball you. This is as low as I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna budge. I'm not gonna pay a cent more for that property. I guess as high as I'm gonna go because you're the buyer. A lot of times you get a better deal when you can convince them it's a win for all of you than when you sound like you're just trying to get a win for you. I do this by literally running them through the numbers, showing them where interest rates are going, showing them worst case scenario on your rates, showing them what your cash flow is going to be with the current rents, because hopefully this is a property where you can add value. All of these things make them see, hey, he's really wanting to buy this property. He is paying a premium for what the rents are at. He's trying to convince me that, hey, even though I'm anchored here, I should let him buy it lower because of all of these good reasons. And the reality is he might be the only buyer that is willing to pay this high because interest rates are going up. So you've built urgency, but you've also helped them understand, look, I want to make this a win-win for both of us. You just have to understand right now, it's not a win for me. And if either of us waits, it's not going to be a win for either of us. You're not going to be able to find a more motivated buyer than me, but the numbers just don't work because of where your rents are currently at. Now, a lot of times they'll say, yeah, but we both know you can rent these at higher. And you got to say, yeah, but that's going to take time. And if you want to rent them it higher to get a premium for this property, well, then you need to rent them at higher. You need to wait till these leases go up. And by that point, interest rates will have gone up to the point where you're gonna make less money even if you do that. So right now, you've got to understand, I have to take on the work of increasing those rents, and there's no guarantee. The market could flip tomorrow, and that might even be off the table. So you got to work with me, because right now, at what the current rents are at, I'm paying a premium. Now it's time to get it under contract. And it is so crucial that when you get it under contract, you know what you're doing. So hopefully you have a relationship with a title company. Hopefully you know how to fill out the paperwork. Hopefully you know how to go through that process. And if you don't, go talk to your title company and learn how on these for sale by owners. If you're using a realtor, they can help you through this. But a lot of times when you're doing mailers, you don't want to use a realtor. You want to do it all on your own, unless they're going to do it for you super cheap and maybe a couple $100 just to do the paperwork for you. But don't pay 3% to bring a realtor in to help you with paperwork. That's absolutely asinine. Now, once it's under contract, make sure in your contract that you give yourself 20 days or at least 15 days of due diligence. And then in the due diligence, you want to be very assumptive with them, but you want to make it painful. You want to get as much information as you can from them. And you want to get a ton of stuff that you can beat them up even more to get that price down even lower. And you want to make sure that your numbers work and that you've done a proper inspection, so this is going to be a good property for you. Finally, after you go through this entire process, you're gonna hit the point where you say, all right, it's time to close. You get your loan done, you go to the closing table, you're all set, and that brings us to the last step, which is repeat. And if you're like me, like I did with these 4 properties, not only did I repeat, but I actually did it all at the same time. So I didn't do one and then one and then one. I sent out all the mailers, and at the same time, I got all 4 of these under contract and worked through this same process. And they each have a slightly unique story. And if you guys think you want to know the unique story, let me know down in the comments. Overall, this is the process I followed on all of them. And I'm really hoping that this process will help you to get more deals under contract. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to remember to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell. And I'm gonna share with you the due diligence on all of these fourplexes. If you do wanna pick up my real estate investing course, hint, hint, you're gonna wanna do that because the price is about to jump a lot. And the members that are already a part of it, they're gonna get all the benefits of that price jump without paying for the price jump. So link is down in description. Go and snag that if that's something that at this point in your life, you're ready to jump in with both feet. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys.